Who could the Knicks add? Because this was the first time in a while that I got real excited, and just because Jalen feels like a real guy. I mean, like when Julius Randle was there, as much as I like him, and he was like the number one option for them over the last couple of years, I was like, Brunson's exciting. Who could they add to get over the hump, realistically?
Well, honestly, it feels like for the first time in forever, they're really positioned for the next mad guy to want to go there because they've got a couple young guys that you could flip. They have all their picks. They have like 4 other picks in the next 7 or 9 years, but I don't know, how likely it is that they get all 4. Because like the weird thing about some of these future firsts, like if you don't get it after a certain number of years, if it's protected, then it conveys because the pick has to come due at some point and it turns into like a second rounder.
Yeah.
So the Knicks have at least the rights to a lot of picks, including their own. And Jalen has surpassed any expectation. Like I always liked him. I didn't like him this much. I mean, this is nuts.
Who could have predicted this?
I don't know who would have predicted him to be at this level. So the Randall part though is really frustrating because watching him closely, like I got kind of bored with this series. Like one Saturday afternoon, it oddly enough just put me in a bad mood. I don't know why that was, and it wasn't because the Heat won. Like I'm not emotionally distraught on Heat outcomes, despite my doubt in them, but I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to watch Randall. I really want to dig into Randall for a quarter. And it was so bad, guys, after a quarter, I couldn't stop watching it. And then I was tracking like the entire game. And I was always respectful of like, hey, a big guy who can shoot a little, can put it on the deck, can drive, who played every game. I think I even voted him 3rd team All-NBA because he played 1 million games this year. I ended up really not liking him after that Heat game because I was like, this dude, like if he's not involved, he is checked out. And then I was like, is he hurt? And then I was like, nope, there's a loose ball and a chance for 2 points. It turned to Usain Bolt. And then he was like, nah, I'm out. Mm-hmm. And then he wouldn't get back on D. I mean, how about that pass that he had at the end of, well, maybe it was in the second half of the elimination game where he just like threw it on top of Brunson's head. Like there's just a bunch of little plays in there with Randall where I wouldn't have noticed if I was watching the game. Like I was losing track of the score, only watching Randall, and I was bummed out. And I'm not even related to him.
I'm pretty sure of that. But yeah, no, again, Brunson just changes the whole deal for me. And you mentioned the young guys. So yeah, they
have options. Look, I'd love to give you a name. I think Minnesota's going to hang. Like the theory was always that they go after Mitchell or Towns or Booker. This Kentucky/Louisville thing. There's a guy on the Knicks staff who was heavily involved with all of them. They're going to bring in Leon Rose because it's DA ties. You're going to, the number of times where teams have brought in somebody who is an agent who's going to have all these players that are going to want to pick them in free agency, or there's going to be this coach. Like the hit rate on that has to be like less than 5%.
Yeah.
And so, the Booker situation got a lot better quicker when Chris Paul showed up. I think Minnesota would want to just give it a full year with a healthy Towns. Even though Towns' name gets floated out all the time, I still think they should have made the Mitchell deal, and they could have done it even with the RJ Barrett contract if they wanted to. But I don't think they really thought that Cleveland was in the mix enough to threaten them, so they were going to wait it out, and then Cleveland rolled in. And I know Knicks fans probably I think Knicks fans look at Mitchell now going like, whatever. I'm like, dude, he's like first team All-NBA.
That guy's a beast. Yeah. I would love it if he was in New York.
Well, it's not going to happen, I don't think, anytime soon now that they just made those.
No.
But I can't give you the name because that's the funny part about this league is there is somebody who we're not even thinking about who's going to be so mad in the beginning of July. He's going to hear a rumor. He may not like somebody who's, I don't know. It's going to happen because it always happens. And the Knicks are actually a real attractive spot. It's a team that got the shit together and they have a special player in Brunson. So I don't know that was always the case before.
Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.